a little bit. Caesar, how do you think that Black people in the soccer world, whether it be media, players, the not many executives, can support each other this year and beyond?
Black, you talking corporation to?
Well, because I put that question on Twitter, it got some retweets and some likes, but nobody had anything to say. Um,
I didn't even see the tweet.
but how do you think we can all support each other?
I mean, it's always. I think the old age like and retweet thing doesn't work anymore. Really, I think it's just like a stat. I think more now. I think collaborations are the big way to like see true growth in the community. I think you can always support. I mean, the likes and retweet is a form at the minuscule level of support, but truly the real support comes from working together. Think tanks. Like one of the things I always talk about is like one of the coolest things I ever found out about Nipsey Hussle is when he made that space for people to get together and create and share ideas and some of their passions or entrepreneurships at that building we talked about. So I think that kind of stuff is really big for like influencing growth and like and support. Because you only truly like build that if you're like collaboration when you collaborate with someone, and especially if it's Black History Month, if more Black creators in this space or in soccer or whatever work together and maybe even do some projects together, that would be, I think, really help growth within this very very small Black soccer community that we have in America, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, collaborating. Am I going to do this? Am I going to say it right now? Yes. The thing, actually, you experienced this too. Like, although this was happening years ago now, I feel like you and I were both really frustrated by other Black people that kind of had their foot in the door, but they weren't like, some super celebrity, not not like collaborating or not like reaching down a little bit to be like, oh wow, oh, this person is like, doing this and they're Black too, and like let me like promote them or something. I remember when you had told me about Aaron West, and this is maybe 3 years ago now, or
Is
maybe
that maybe longer? This felt like
yeah,
2 years ago.
it was 2 or 3 years ago when he wasn't as popping as he is now. And you were like replying to him and like tweeting him and stuff, and he just like wouldn't reply. And it wasn't like he was getting hella, notifications at that time. Um, and you mentioned like, we're a Black soccer podcast and stuff like that, and he had no interest. Now, maybe, am I gonna do it?
Oh
Yes.
yeah, you're too early. People are still listening.
Yeah, whatever. Like maybe back then he wasn't that interested, so like maybe now he would care, but like back then it wasn't like the thing. This is obviously pre June 2020 when it got like really cool to be extra Black. But I'm sorry, whatever, and like that wasn't really the thing back then. But it's not like him and other people weren't doing stuff. And I remember reaching out to what was it, like Black Arrow FC, and like no response. And it like back then it wasn't really like it just wasn't really the thing. Now it's more of the thing, but I feel like the people that like have that space now, they want to keep it, like they just want to stay there. And you're not going to get anywhere like that. Like if you're somebody who has your foot in the door and you're in this space, like you got to look out for other talent and stuff like that because it's out there. But I do think, even we can do more to like collaborate and like reach out to other like independent soccer stuff. We follow them on Twitter and stuff like that. I'm gonna keep it a stack real quick again. Caesar is so annoyed. Like, I mean, we have these conversations on the phone, and they're very egregious. I'm not gonna go like that, but it gets frustrating. You know what I mean? Because like I remember like trying to interact with Nigerian scams, dude, and like you're like trying, you're like yo, like we're also in this space, and it almost felt like I'm being ignored because I'm black. Like it's like no, we don't, no, they're trying to get in here. I don't know. Okay, like I'm joking, but like it, I'll say this much: if it was us that were like had that spot, like let's say if we were talking to BN in 2017. I think that was 17.
Yeah, it was
It was
17.
like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it was
correct.
like fall 2017 that we were talking to
Yeah, we
BN.
were.
If like
Oh, that's the year you went to one of the like think tank things, right? Whatever. They're like,
I might have went to that before. That was before the
you went to
podcast.
like a BN Connect thing before too, right?
That was before we started the podcast. That was like the
Okay.
year before. That was like
Yeah,
2016
that was
actually.
Copa America year, right?
I don't know if it was couple. Yeah, it was
Second one, the
that was
second
the
one.
second one. But I think you were in Hawaii when I went to
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
If we had gotten that shot and we were like on the network and like able to bring in people remotely or like have people, we would absolutely be looking out for the other black content creators. Like I'm gonna be trying to find y'all. And I just don't necessarily like, maybe they are doing that and we're just under the radar. I don't know. But I'll say something else. This is how real I'm keeping right now. There's a Twitter account I follow on my personal Twitter. It's like Atlanta Black Star. It's a newspaper, like a publication out of Atlanta. I think it's like one of the oldest like black newspapers or something like that. And they will often retweet or like post tweets from I think it's called like Shadow League or something like that. It's like a sports it's a sports network or website or whatever. I had reached out to that Shadow League people. I sent them a DM on Instagram and on Twitter, I think, and not even for us. I was gonna tell them that they should look up the FC United guys, because that are based out of like because they cover
Oh yeah,
American
yeah, they're in that area.
because they cover American sport, American
Mhm.
soccer. Like we don't really cover American soccer. I reached out to them. They didn't reply, but I reached out to them so they could check them out, like so those dudes could get on there. Because that would be a great look for them too, I'm sure.
Yeah, especially those guys, they do cover the
They
like
cover American.
American and like both divisions too, top and middle. So
Exactly. So like I wasn't looking out for us. Like obviously I've sent a million stuff for us, but like we don't like we wouldn't really have nothing to offer them people. But like I know these other guys that would have something to offer. And I was like literally like reaching out for them. You know what I mean? Now, like I don't know if it's going down like that out here. You know what I mean? Caesar happy. See, yes, I look out for black people.
it's beautiful to see how much you've changed this year.
Whoa.
I'm just kidding. No, I get it. And I mean, you gotta like, I think if you're someone that's listening to this as like a neutral observer, maybe like a very rare first time listener, very rare, definitely not a repeated listener. But if you just accidentally clicked on this and you're like, what's going on right now? Goddamn, this dude going in right now. But this is a podcast that's 4+ years and going, you know what I mean? Like think about how many things you've done in your life and you committed 4 years of, and then in those 4 years you've been consistently doing it every week. Like just think about that. Like you've had something that you worked on and you've released every week for 4 years.
Yeah, like never took a like,
I think especially if we're talking about Black History Month and being black and everything, frustration is allowed in this case. Okay, like there's one thing black people know how to do is be frustrated about what's going on. So I just think that like yeah. Do you see me breathing heavy when Bam's going on there? Yes, I am. But do I disagree with him? Absolutely not. If anything, like I said, we have this conversation aside, and it's just like it's a point of like, damn, what does it take? Damn, like what's up? Like I've had people that, as he mentioned, like from in my case, like people that I've had, pretty like social interactions routinely for honestly years. Like people that I've met through programs in America when I was younger, and later on they added me, and it was like, oh, cool, they remember me or something like that. And we've had back and forth DMs, and reached out, and it was like, oh, that's crazy that you get put on scene or something, or you get ignored
Say
because
his
it's like,
name.
it just sucks because there's people that are prominent soccer players like Eddie Johnson in the community, like
Whoa.
which is someone I literally looked up to. Like that was like the first American soccer player I really enjoyed. Like, I'm not was never into American soccer that much because I was just like I don't know, like I'm not really. It felt like when you like were in high school and it was like the people that like cool, we go to the same school, but like we're not the same kind of thing. Like we just don't live the same life. So I never really could. It was like we talk about what the problem American soccer was. People don't young black American kids don't look at the team, especially back then. And we're like those 2000s teams, and we're like, oh man, that guy like really kind of reminds me of like me, or I could be him. Like you see that team makeup, you're like, I'm not a Landon Donovan. I'm not a what's his name, Alexi Lawless. That's not me, dog. Like, but if I go watch NFL or I watch NBA, like, oh yeah, I could do that. Like, oh yeah, like that guy went to this school. That guy knows. Like, there's so much correlation. There's anybody in America can honestly do some kind of what is it, that old 90s thing, the 60 degrees or whatever, or the whole thing where they can like somehow be affiliated with someone in a professional league. That's just how it is
It's
here.
6 degrees of separation.
Yeah, that is very evident with the major sports, but not really with soccer. That doesn't really happen here. I don't hear people saying like, "Oh yeah, that's my cousin's boyfriend." I never hear that ever. So, it's tough to do that. And I think that Eddie Johnson was the first time I was like, "Oh, whoa, like, damn, like he's really good." And like, oh, he's black and he's like coloring his hair. And then I remember watching that Seattle Sounders season when he's like balling out and he's asking for like more money. I was like, wow, like that's like this is cool to see. It's just cool to see this guy as like a prominent force in the sport,
You
And
couldn't even do that with Kobe Jones.
honestly, dog, I haven't watched Kobe Jones. I thought Kobe Jones was like cool, but I was so young. I didn't really know. I was like a baby when he played. Um Dude, when I was a kid, I was like America's ass. I don't care about no damn Kobe Jones.
Still the case.
Like I was a kid, I was like Brazil. Don't be talking about me, America pre 2005 team. Like I'm really pro Brazil to the max. We just won a World Cup, ain't no way. But no, like like high school years or whatever. And all that, I was just like, who's a non-European player that I'm like really Philly with. So I did like everything every kid did in the young Google era, the young Google era. I Googled his name, Googled MLS camps. I was looking up everything because I knew all about AAU. I knew everything. I'm like, there's got to be something soccer related. Me and my mom stumbled across something, went to a camp. There was a number of players there just hanging out and teaching kids. It was like 40 people. It was not popping. It was not like how it is probably nowadays where it's crazy with all these things. But back then it was like dead. And there was like basically only like Latin kids there. I was like just doing a camp.
Including you. You're a Latin kid too.
I'm a proud Afro-Latino. Got to go over there. Okay, well, there's definitely different type of Latin kids. So I went over there and had a cool interaction. Good interaction with someone I looked up to. It was great. Move forward, Adam. Have conversations on a routinely. We brought up something really cool in the podcast. So we heard about a story about Benfica and this player, and then move forward to just reach out and be like, oh, it'd be cool to have a conversation about this and other things moving forward, because I can imagine a frustration that they express their frustration about what happened to that. Let's talk about it on the show or just talk about anything. Just got put on scene. But I mean that's just kind of how it is. And you can't take face value on one interaction for everybody moving forward, right? Like
why not?
That's what they always say.
Sure.
Because like just to clarify for Bam Sarcasm, one celebrity or one major figure is not a template for everyone moving forward.
Right.
But when you've been doing this for 4 years, that template is looking like more like just consistent, and we can talk about wanting to institute change. We can talk about growth. We could talk about visibility, but are we talking? Or are we making actions? Like it's cool. Like I am here putting up a Pele in the background, and this month, every episode, I want to put a different major prominent black soccer player that meant a lot to my life to me as my background. But what's the action moving forward? The action is gonna be, oh, is there gonna be reach out for collaboration? Is there gonna be engagement? What's going on here? But I'm not gonna do it at the expense if I'm not getting the same energy reciprocated as well, because you can only keep knocking on the door forever. Okay, yeah, like someone's got to open it eventually, and after doing it 4.5 years, it's like, come on now, like what's the deal? It's already 2020 past. It's cool to be black now. All right, it's cool to collaborate for black soccer. What's the deal? Because all these articles coming out, all of the MLS been doing these videos. Been watching MLS Works videos for black soccer back when it was getting like 10K views. Okay, when it was 3 comments on there and 2 of them was spam. Okay, so like,
and
one of course
haters,
very racially egregious.
exactly.
Now that shit's different. So yeah, that's my rant. I didn't want to,
See the short episode. See, you start talking about your childhood and everything.
You did this on purpose. Knowing I gotta go.
Oh God, here we go. But yeah, like it's not easy, but like I'll just mention this quickly. I was trying to put together clips of like old like parts where we talked about like racism stuff in soccer, and I like put them on YouTube, but I was trying to convert the MP3 to the MP4s, and I don't know if it worked or whatever. I was like trying to upload a couple and they weren't working, but I'll try to work on that. But, what's the name? I came across one of our old episodes where we were talking about Vincent Company, and he was talking about like how there's very rarely any Black executives. And we had also talked about before, like there's hardly any Black coaches. And I think MLS has one Black coach right now. There's a few sprinkled around. I think the Colorado Rapids coach is Black. There's a few sprinkled around Europe. Like there's not very many. It'd be dope if you could put like, prominent, like Black coaches and Black executives on your wall and on your screen. I wonder, like in a place like Brazil, like I remember, wasn't it like a big deal that Bahia had a Black coach?
Huge deal. He's not there anymore.
In Brazil, they're like, oh, where's
the
homie's
Black gone? But yeah, it's a huge deal.
They're like, where's the Black coaches in a place like Brazil? You know what I
mean?
Like,
we can talk about that. We talked to me and you on my first AFCONs. We talked about how exciting it was to watch AFCON. But we're like, God damn, where's the Black coaches at? It was like literally only like Nigeria and Ghana had a Black coach at the time.
It was like Senegal crazy. And like one other team.
Yeah. I think it was like Ghana. They had like that they had that long-standing Black coach who's also gone. But yeah, so like it's crazy.
Ghana had Avram Grant back then, who we're going to talk about later.
Okay.
But
we talked about one of them teams having like a 20-year. Remember, he was like some like 20 years legendary. Like he's like came from the roots or whatever. And he's like a country legend. But yeah, like that's basically it. Like
Senegal has that to do with the dreads.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Former players. It's not Kanos. I forgot his name. He's a former player though.
Yeah. I remember Costa Rica had that one Black dude too. Remember he punched that guy?
Yeah, that was one of my favorite moments in Twitter history.
Real freedom fighter.